welcome to week 8. So let's go through what we have to do this week. So let's look at the introduction. The title of it is Reporting in the Digital Age Workplace. And so the intro to it is Welcome to the 8th week of Business Communication course. Yay! This week you'll learn about the different report types and how to create effective graphics when writing reports in the digital age workplace. That is incredibly important. You will also learn about identifying sources and conducting research. Don't you hate pop-ups? And documenting information as it applies to those reports. Now, another thing is that you need to be sure you click on this and understanding plagiarism. So let's take a look at this just for a minute.
Plagiarism is really academic. It is the knowing or more commonly unknowing passing off of somebody else's ideas, research, opinions as your own. Plagiarism is where you use anyone else's work without acknowledging it, sources, trying to self.
Using somebody else's ideas and passing it as your own. So that might be writing a sentence that you've read from a book, or it might be cutting and pasting something from a website and not referencing either of those things.
Well, plagiarism can come in many forms. Certainly over the past decade or so, we've had a shift from the old style of typing up a book, writing out a book, to just cutting and pasting websites. Now, this is the most common form of plagiarism, certainly wholesale. Um, that there'll be a tendency to pull paragraphs out, kind of integrate them a little, move some words around, and pass that on as the work of the student. Sometimes it's just smaller instances where a couple of lines will drop in, or it'll be a quote that's then truncated, references that are missing, paraphrasing, or knowledge simply having taught a module, but those ideas don't belong to the student.
I think a lot of the time students don't realise that they're plagiarising because of potentially time management and processes of developing effective written work. And it can be just through poor scholarship.
I think that the main reason students plagiarize is because for some of us, I guess the amount of work which you get in comparison to your college work or sixth form or wherever background you come from can be slightly overwhelming. So then if you leave your assignments to last night, you just get so stressed and you just don't know what to do and you feel like you can't do it. So I guess the easiest way is best and copy something of internet.
Well, students can avoid plagiarizing in a number of ways. Firstly is to make sure that they reference. We are very big on trying to teach a scholarly technique. Every idea, every concept, every quotation is cited with the surname of the author, the date of publication, quotation, page number, so that it's very clear that that is the source of that idea. Students can block off any perceived or potential plagiarism by very clearly citing.
One important way that students is having a good essay plan. Ultimately, the best. Any doubt about whether you should reference
Our library website, for example, which I was using a lot in the first year, has a whole section about referencing. And it says how to reference articles, how to reference books, how to reference websites, and guide you steps by step.
But as a final check, it's a really good idea to put their essay through, turn it in, and that will pick up any of the places where they've accidentally forgotten to reference things.
Okay, so that kind of says it all. If you ever have any other doubts, you can look over here on the side, when to cite, what is plagiarism and how to avoid it. And then here's a little cartoon thing that goes for 5 minutes. We're not going to look at it, but it looks fun. Okay. And so I always, when I give you anything that you have to write, I give you the library reference, and I also will put a reference about how to citation. If you don't know how to cite or you can't find it, it's a really easy thing to do. Get onto the email in Canvas and you go, Mrs. Smith, how do I do this? How do I cite this so that you don't get me for plagiarism? All right, I'll be happy to help. All right, now, instead of being a dead horse, okay, let's go into lesson objectives. For this week, you're to summarize report types, functions, strategies, and formats. You need to how to identify sources and conduct reliable research. Explain how to avoid plagiarism by using techniques of citation and documentation. Describe effective graphics that's used in reports. So this week we're in chapter 11. Here's the PowerPoint. Here's the game. You guys should be used to this by now. Here's grammar and mechanics. And then here is the quiz. Again, I say this almost every week. I think I've said it every week, but I'll put in the word almost. What you need to do is take notes on this before you do the quiz, just real short notes, just so you know what this is. And that way, when you take the quiz, you have potentially the answers for that quiz right there so you can get real close to 100%. And remember, the quizzes you can take twice. So let's look at the discussion to do replies. Okay, so 8.2 written assignment review activities. Let me restate something. Always, always, let's see, did I say that right? Always read these instructions first. Do not go straight to your textbook first. So when it says activity 11.1, okay, it's on page 411. Yes, this objective. Read all the way through this one before you go running off to page 411. I have some students that's going to the appropriate page and doing totally what the textbook says, and I 9 times out of 10 tweak it. So you need to pay attention to what's in here because what's inside this box is graded first. You know, did you follow this first? And then I'll tell you, you need to go check the book. So now that I've said that, you're going to name the report's primary function and informational and analytical. These are just regular old definitions you could look up. Recommend the direct or indirect strategy of development that's been said throughout the chapters. Select a report format, memo, email, letter, or manuscript. I think there's a couple of them that have two. Select a report format is almost as important as the actual report. And then be sure to reference the information in Objective 1 to assist you with this activity. Activity 11.16, evaluating graphics. I think this one's a fun one. Examine the sources that are listed in 11.16. All right, so this is saying go look at the book. Okay, but read all this first. Select one or more of those sources to research and select 4 different graphics to analyze and critique each graphic based on what you've learned in this chapter, 402 to 408. Questions you need to answer is what is correctly shown, incorrectly, and how could the graphics be improved? So you've read through this, and then these 2 things are found in the textbook. Then you come back and I've forgotten whether the textbook says this or not, but then you come back and do this. Note, you're going to need to copy. You need to copy each of the 4 graphics and submit them as part of your assignment. If not, you'll be counted wrong. You can copy and paste each graphic into a Word document, and this tells you how. 11.23, avoiding huge credit card debt for college students. This is an assignment that should be very interesting for you. Locate information about student credit card options, so do a little bit of research. Discuss shared credit cards and other options that you find. You should be informative and discuss the facts, not make recommendations or conclusions. You should review the objectives for this activity to track your sources. As a result of your research, address a memo to Paula Parks, editor, and discuss your findings. Be sure to include references to the research sites that you use to do this activity. You need to do your references, and this would be like a standard reference. It's not, well, how do I do the reference? This would be your standard reference, so you'd want to go to the library. And I think I've already posted it in some places, but I'll check. All right, so if you have any questions, again, let me know. And then here is, okay, and so this is the quiz. And remember, you can do it twice. And so if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, bye-bye.